Imagine walking into a grocery store. You reach for a box of chocolates, a treat you've loved since childhood. But then you see it. A small, hand-applied sticker. It says, "Danger, contains toxins." In 1984, this wasn't a nightmare. It was reality for an entire nation. For 17 months, Japan was held hostage by an invisible entity. They kidnapped CEOs, burned down factories, and poisoned the country's candy supply. But the strangest part, they never actually took the money. They called themselves the Monster with 21 faces. They treated the police like toys, and the public like a captive audience. Today, we deconstruct the blueprint of a mystery that officially died with its perpetrators, because they were never caught. March 18, 1984, Pukul 9 p.m. Katsuhisa Izaki, the president of Glico, company behind Pakias at home. Two masked men, armed with a pistol and a rifle, break in. They tie up his family and drag Izaki out of his own bathtub, throwing him into the back of a car while he's still wet and naked. The demand, 1 billion yen and 100 kilograms of gold bullion. It was the largest ransom ever demanded in Japanese history. But 3 days later, before any money was paid, Izaki managed to escape a riverside warehouse on his own. The police were embarrassed, but they thought it was over. They were wrong. This wasn't a kidnapping. It was an opening act. Weeks later, the letters started arriving. They weren't just ransom notes. They were reviews of the police's performance. Written in a distinct Osaka dialect, the Monster mocked the authorities constantly. Quote, "Dear dumb police officers, don't tell a lie. All crimes begin with a lie. Don't you know that?" The Monster even gave them hints, telling them which gate they used to enter factories and what brand of typewriter they used. The Panwriter. It was psychological warfare. When Glico refused to pay, the Monster moved to a new target, Morinaga. But this time, they weren't just making threats. They claimed they had laced Morinaga candy with sodium cyanide and placed them on shelves across Japan. Police actually found 21 poisoned packages. Every single one had that helpful warning label. The Monster wasn't trying to kill. They were trying to prove that the police couldn't protect anyone. If the Monster had a face, it was Manabu Miyazaki. He was the son of a Yakuza boss and had a long-standing grudge against Glico years earlier. He'd accused them of dumping industrial waste. He looked so much like the Fox-Eyed Man's sketch that even his own mother suspected him. But the blueprint of the Monster wasn't just one man. It was a network. Police discovered a police radio scanner in a stolen car used by the suspect, meaning they were listening to every police move in real time. Then there's the Hokkaido tape. Police released audio of a woman and a child's voice demanding ransom. This suggests the Monster involved entire families, or at least used them as a shield to appear normal. It wasn't just a gang. It was a ghost cell living right in the middle of Japanese society. Let's look at the financial blueprint. While the Monster never collected a ransom, they did succeed in something else: destroying corporate value. Glico alone lost $21 million in sales and had to lay off 450 workers. Some theorists believe the Monster was actually a front for stock market manipulation. If you knew exactly when the threats were coming, you could short the stock and make millions without ever needing a ransom bag. Others point to a darker theory: North Korean agents. During the 80s, North Korea was actively kidnapping Japanese citizens. Was this a test run to see how easily they could destabilize the Japanese economy? The precision of the operations suggests military-grade planning. To understand the Monster, we have to look 30 years into the past, to the 1955 Morinaga arsenic milk poisoning. It's one of the darkest chapters in Japanese corporate history. Over 12,000 infants were poisoned, and 138 died after arsenic was accidentally mixed into baby formula. Morinaga paid settlements, but a 1969 follow-up showed the survivors, the Morinaga infants, were still suffering from brain damage and neurological issues. In 1984, Those survivors would have been exactly 29 or 30 years old. Prime age for a revenge plot. Was the monster a group of these survivors, now grown, seeking to dismantle the company that stole their health? It fits the blueprint. They didn't want to kill the public, they wanted to humiliate the boardrooms. They wanted to see the CEOs grovel, just as the victims' parents did decades before. The monster didn't just write letters. They used the national media as their personal encrypted messaging service. In November 1984, they told Morinaga to respond to a ransom demand via the missing persons column in the Manasi Shimbun. They provided a specific code. Dear Jiro, bad friend, disappeared. Come back. Warm meal is waiting. Mother Ch. Think about the theatricality of this blueprint. They forced a multi-billion-yen corporation to play act as a grieving mother in the classifieds. It was a power trip. Every time a citizen opened the morning paper, they were inadvertently reading the monster's private correspondence. By the time the police realized the missing persons ads were a signal for a drop-off, the monster was already 3 steps ahead, watching the sting operations from the shadows and laughing. The blueprint of this crime wasn't victimless. In August 1985, the shame became too much. Superintendent Shoshi Yamamoto, who had failed to catch the Foxside Man during a stakeout, retired and committed suicide by self-immolation. This was the breaking point. The monster sent a final letter that felt like a twisted eulogy. They called him stupid for dying, but announced they would stop bullying food companies. They claimed they had more to do than this. To this day, we don't know what that more was. In 2000, the statute of limitations officially expired. 1.3 million police officers were mobilized over 17 months, and they came up with 0 arrests. The monster, with 21 faces, didn't just commit a crime. They performed a piece of dark theater. They proved that with enough arrogance and a solid blueprint, you can hold an entire nation hostage and walk away into the sunset. Is the Foxside Man still out there, walking the streets of Osaka? Probably, and he's probably smiling. The Glico-Morinaga case wasn't just a crime. It was a masterclass in psychological disruption. The monster with 21 faces understood that you don't need to pull a trigger to take over a country. You just need to break its sense of safety. They vanished in 1985, leaving behind a cold trail and a final taunt. It's fun to lead a bad man's life. If you want to see the world's blueprints deconstructed every day, hit that subscribe button and join the lab. I'm Bizarre Blueprint, and some stories are better left unsolved. Now that we've mapped out the monster, should our next blueprint be the unexplained 1980s satanic panic in the US, or the digital ghosts of the 2013 TQ8 coordinates? Let me know in the comments.